Hey guys, welcome back. Drip and Farm for Poverty. I'm your host, Drip Coach, dropping knowledge bombs on all Forex Shark related projects. And in today's video, we're going to examine some fair weather fighters and how that relates to my experience in Balad Air Base, Iraq, and why that's important and how it ties into the you being the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So this is all about actually mindset again. So if you're not into that coaching tidbit, you can click off now. But for those of you that are, thanks for sticking around and rocking with me. So a little some backstory. But first off, just this quote. This comes from Jim Rohn. If you're not familiar with Jim Rohn, he's pretty much the father of motivational speaking and birthed all of the greats that we have today. And this is one of his famous quotes. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now, during his time, that was usually the people that were around you in your sphere. But now, due to the power of internet, you can spend time with people that are well outside of your current economic means. So you can digest content from, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, David Goggins, Mel Robbins. I don't know why I picked all the Robbins, but ironically, those are all some great people. And they will influence you, right? And they will influence your thinking, your decisions, things of that nature. And they always say, if you want to get to another level, then you need to surround yourself with those people on that level, because that is, your average. So that ties into directly with the quality of your life is a direct reflection of the expectations of your peer group. So choose your peers wisely. I think in another one, he said, you'll rise to the lowest expectations of the average of your peer group. And man, that's powerful. Rise to the lowest expectations of the average of your peer group. That's why you always or often hear people in your sphere, be careful, or don't do that. Or maybe your parents tell you when you want to make a decision about your life and direction, and they tell you, I wouldn't do that, do something safe. I'm not sure about that direction or whatever. They're always trying to look out for you and choose something safe for you because of what they've seen in their life. So they don't exactly have the same lens that you have. Right. So it's usually from a place of love, but you got to be careful. If you are surrounded with those people, then it goes back to that same adage of the eagle that had a egg that fell into a chicken's nest and then was raised as a chicken and clucking and scraping the ground. And one day looked up in the air and saw an eagle soaring and asked the chickens, hey, what is that? And they're like, oh, that's an eagle. He's the, the king of the skies, the most powerful bird. But you'll never be an eagle. We're just chickens. All we do is cluck and scrape the ground. But all along, he had no idea that he was an eagle, right? So all that ties together. Just a little bit of some, coaching nuggets, right? But I'm going to tie this into what I got for you guys in the Drip Network. But first, one more story. So when I was in Balad Air Base, Iraq, back in 2005, during the Operation Iraqi Freedom, we had out there what was known as fair weather fighters. You may have heard the term fair weather friends. These are people that only show up when everything's great in your life. Well, in war, ironically, we had fair weather fighters. So this is the base. And what had happened in Desert Storm is basically Saddam took over an area and just kicked the farmers out and built a base. And so on the perimeter of this base was some farmland. You can't see it here. They've cleaned a lot of it out. But if you look at this here, this was the base. And then this around this area, when I was there, it was just all green. And you could literally reach through and grab fruit and stuff like that on the perimeter because the farmers were still there. That was still technically their land, but Saddam had stolen it from them. Now, what this ties in with fair weather fighters is because if the weather was good, then basically somewhere on this perimeter, you would have the insurgents basically coming up and shooting mortars over the wire of the fence. So that was their primary tactic. They would just set up mortars and just hope to hit something. And they wouldn't even know if they hit anything, but they would just set it up. And it was very primitive. So sometimes they'd stack it with a rock and prop it up on a box or something like that, and then set a primitive timer with a clock or whatever the case may be. It was not very advanced. And some of the mortars were stuffed with whatever shrapnel they could find, rocks, bottles, beaten up Coke cans, whatever. It was not, a fair war in that regard. But what I mean by fair weather is they would only be out there when the weather was great and they had time to set things up. if it rained or it was muddy or it was cold, we never had any mortars. But on the nice and sunny days, man, it was like we actually got an award. They gave it more as a cliche, but they gave this actual piece of paper that said, I survived Mortaritaville. Spin on words to Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. So we would get literally pelted on day and night if it was nice and fair weather. And if it was cold and rainy, foul weather or whatever, there was nothing. Now, what does that have to do with the Drip Network? Well, I'm glad you asked. The Drip Network and crypto period is full of a bunch of fair weather fighters. And not to call them out in a negative way, but back to you are the sum of the average of 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you're digesting content from some of these fair weather fighters that have kind of fell by the wayside, then you are going to be affected by them and their ideologies, their principles and stuff like that. So there was a lot of these people during the bull run that were putting out content and just haven't put out anything since then. And I used to follow some of these people because basically what I do so that I can bring you guys content is I just look up to see any new drip content or videos every day and pretty much, see what I missed. And a lot of these are no longer around. And there is a ton. And the good news is they're going to all come back, or there'll be some new ones when Drips takes its bull run again. But right now they have kind of just drift off, so it's like that's that fair weather. When Drip is good and everything is great, then everybody has tons of stuff to say. And you could be coming in with one of these people. And what'll happen is when the person you're following stops putting out content, well, that rocks your boat. Right now, you're kind of feeling a bit sideways. And I know I have that effect on people when if I come on here and say something, quote unquote, negative, speaking from the heart, I know that I have the power to sway people's feelings. Right. So have to be mindful of that. But at the same time, I can't just show you bullshit and tell you the token's going to the moon. Right. So that's what I mean by fair weather fighters is that you got to be careful because whoever you're digesting and surrounding yourself with is going to affect your viewpoint on whatever your investment is. If they're bullish, then you're bullish. If they're bearish, then you're bearish. And that may not necessarily be the facts. That may not actually be the real weather that's going on in the crypto environment. And ironically, even some of the fudders could not stand the storm. So we had some fudders out there that used to put out content constantly on the Drip Network. And even they have stopped producing Drip content, oddly enough. Even our friend over here at On-Chain Crypto changed his name, and I think his token is not doing so well or something like that. I don't even know. I don't follow him, but fair play. Even him. So even the fudders are fair weather fighters, and they have to change their content, and they can't weather the storm. So the point I'm getting at is that you need to surround yourself with the type of people you think will align with your values, and that's why it's important to have values. I mentioned that in the VC I did with Crypto Night. So some people don't have any at all and they just go with the flow, but others have principles and values that they stand by. And if you align with those, then you can rock with that kind of person because at least at the end of the day, you guys are aligned, right? So point of this video is to be careful of the fair weather fighters that you may have, fair weather friends, fair weather fighters, people in your group, not only in crypto, but in real life, because those are the kind that you can't depend on when, like in this image, the tides are hitting the rocks, when the shit hits the fan, so to speak. So yeah, just want to share that little coaching nugget with you guys, and I appreciate those of you that stuck around for it. You know the drill. Smash that HBO special, help a brother out, like, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, live daily and achieve your impossible. See ya. Want to pay your in real life bills with crypto? How about send crypto directly to anyone with a bank account? Sprix Finance is a decentralized solution to be your own bank and connect your crypto earnings to real world bills and payments. They do not take custody of your assets and allow support on multiple blockchains and Web3 wallets. Sign up below using my referral link and you will get $50 back when you make your first $50 bill payment with crypto. Additionally, I will be using referral bonuses to airdrop, donate, or burn based on community feedback. Sign up now.